Welcome to chess, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going out there? Okay, so like I said before, Wesley did eliminate Teimour Radjabov in the Opera Meltwater Champions Chess Tour, and so we are just waiting right now. And I think they're still playing Carlsen versus Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. I think they're going to go into a tiebreak actually, because 1, 2, 3, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they finished. Let me see. Because Carlsen, did Maxime Vachier-Lagrave win the first one? Magnus. Okay, so it looks like Maxime Vachier-Lagrave knocked Magnus Carlsen out of the championship. So it looks like, I'm not confirmed on this, it looks like Maxime Vachier-Lagrave is going to be playing Wesley for the final of the Opera Meltwater Champions Chess Tour. Anyway, I had some people actually ask me in the past, who is playing what color. I tried to make it as simple as possible. I do have, see if you guys can see. If I do, I guess not. If you guys notice, and right next to, so I have the players' pictures in the middle, and then right next to them I have the flag, and then I have their country that they're representing and their name, and then at the very edges of that I have a little black or white chess piece. So that's just the way I tried to make it as simple as possible, is just putting a little colored chess piece next to each name. But another simple way to remember it is left is always going to be white, right is always going to be black. And even when I do my thumbnails, whoever is to the left is always white, and then the right is always black. So I just tried to make it simple, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody was familiar with that. And so that way there aren't any questions as to who. I don't want people to watch my stuff and be confused, who is playing what and stuff like that. So, if you just kind of follow those two things, it should make things a little more simple for you. As always, I do have 905 subscribers now. I just need 95 more. So pretty please hit that subscribe button for me. And I will be, I hopefully will get my 1,000 by the end of the day. I'm going to be making at least another video or two for the rest of the day. So I'm going to be putting the work in. So just hit me with the subs. If you've been watching my stuff for a while and just haven't subbed, please do. It doesn't mean that you have to watch more of my videos. It just, like I said, it just throws me the number. So I appreciate it very much. And I am still struggling with my eye, but I did go to the doctor today earlier. I got some more medication. So hopefully it should be clearing up in the next few days. So if you guys are ready, let me get my screen back up here. Let's get rolling on this game. See what we got. All right, so we have D4, knight to F6. We got C4, E6. We got knight to F3. We have D5. We have knight to C3. Bishop to E7. We have bishop to G5. So we have the Queen's Gambit declined on the board. And just to run through another couple moves, we have H6. Bishop takes F6. Bishop takes F6. And we have E3 and then castles by black. And this is actually the Queen's Gambit declined, the Neo Orthodox variation. And so just to show you guys a couple other ones, this isn't the most highly played. To show you guys other ones, after H6, sometimes you might see bishop to H4, and then after castles by black, you'll see E3 and then B6, and this is the Queen's Gambit decline Tartakower variation. And so what the Queen's Gambit decline Neo Orthodox is supposed to be doing is trying to avoid the Tartakower variation. So I guess white is trying to avoid all of that, but then also as well, you'll see just castles, E3 and then knight B to D7. And this is actually the Orthodox variation. So there's just a couple different ways that you could play it, And so like I said, we do see castles, and we have rook to C1. We got C6. So as you can see, we kind of have like a little Slav type of setup here. A lot of the times when you're playing, as black, you're going to end up getting in a similar structure. It just keeps everything extra solid, and especially like, once you have like a trades here, you have the ability to take back with either pawn, and either pawn is just as legitimate. So we do see bishop to D3. You know, one of the benefits of not having the bishop outside the chain is you don't have to contest it here like this. You are a little bit cramped as black, you know, but, you know, you're going to be able to, you know, most likely play like a b6, bishop to b7, and then after c5, you're going to be able to liberate your bishop. That's normally typically the way things go. But we do see castles by white. Pawn takes c4, bishop takes c4, we have c5, we have queen to e2, pawn takes d4, e takes d4, and then we have knight to b6. And so the bishop just comes back to d3. And as you can see, white is actually doing very well. You know, black still kind of has another move or two to get their, you know, their rooks connected. But you see white is a little bit further ahead. So they do have a slight advantage. It's not anything game ending, but, you know, it is slightly better than black's position at the moment. So we see g6. We got bishop to e4. We have rook to b8. We have knight f to d1, and we have bishop to d7. And believe it or not, we are still in theory. I remember seeing Alexander Shabalov played this in 1987. So, you know, quite a few years ago. But yeah, anyway. So we do see knight to e5. Queen comes to e7. We got queen to f3. We got bishop back to e8. We have g3, and then we have bishop to g7. And bishop to g7 is actually finally the novelty of the game. You know, before we actually saw a game 2 years ago where, like in this position, we had bishop takes e5 and then pawn takes e5, and so that's how that game continued. That game did end up in a draw, so you know, some similarities there. So like I said, we do see bishop to g7, and so we have h4, h5, queen to e3. We got knight back to c8. So we have bishop back down to b1. So we have knight to d6. We have rook to e1. We have bishop to c6. And as you can see, both sides they're playing fairly strong. I mean, it's pretty even. You know, of course, you're not really too worried about the pawn taking or the knight taking here because you'll be opening up a file for your rooks. So that'll probably end up being a little bit better for black. So, you know, white doesn't look like that's what they want to do. But it's, as you can see, for each side, it's kind of hard to break through and really produce much. You know, there aren't really any sacks, you know, coming up here. The bishop is a little bit blunted from this pawn. So, you know, there isn't a crazy amount of chances for each side. So we have queen to f4. After queen to d8, we see rook c to d1. I always make sure you're noting which one moved. A lot of the times, even till now, you know, I have trouble sometimes, you know, writing the correct notation down. But as long as you can go into some kind of detail of, you know, what rook actually moved or what knight actually moved, it should help you when you're doing your analysis. Because even if you said something, you know, well, I mean, there's not really a lot else to say other than rook c to d1. But, you know, when they're on the same line, if you did put, you know, at least try to give some type of detail as to which one moved, it should help you in your analysis. So we do see knight to b5. So knight does take b5, bishop takes b5. We have bishop to e4, queen to f6. And, you know, Radjabov is not trying to trade, so he backs it up to queen to e3. And so we see rook f to d8, and queen goes to b3, bishop to e8. We have queen to a3. We have a6, rook to d3, trying to see if we can, you know, influence the queen a little bit, swinging the rook over here. So we have bishop to f8, queen comes to b3. We have bishop to g7, queen to a3. And so we have bishop back to f8. We got queen back to b3, bishop to g7, and then we have queen to a3. And we actually have a draw by threefold repetition here in this position. But if we back up here, after the initial bishop to g7, before queen did move to a3, if you want to go ahead and stop the video and kind of see what slight chance Radjabov actually had for an advantage, go ahead and do that real quick. All right, cool. So the move here is bishop to g2. And the continuation that's strongest in this position is going to be rook to d6. You know, you're not going to want to go back to f8 because you're going to be swinging this rook over, challenging the queen, and then you're going to be putting a lot of pressure. You're going to be putting a lot of pressure on this f7 square. So, like I said, rook does come to d6. And then after d5, you'd see b6, and then rook would come to f3. After queen goes to e7, you would see a doubling of the rooks here. And, you know, as you can see, you know, you have the ability now. The bishop is going to start coming alive, and you're going to be taken here and here. And so you have a little bit of play. So the position is not quite drawn. It's actually pretty good for white. But I wanted to show you a different variation. If we didn't defend correctly after bishop to g2, and let's say we did something like king to h7, queen would come to b4. We'd see bishop to h6, trying to make sure we prevent rook to e3. And then after b3, b6, we'd see rook to f3. As you can see, it's kind of similar. You know, we do have some attacks going on this f7 pawn, and the queen doesn't have the ability to move here. So the queen would have to do something like this, but you would be able to move your queen here. And as you can see, you're getting quite a bit of penetration here. You know, you can't really defend anyway with the rooks because, of course, this knight is here. And so, you know, you're going to be doing some takes here, and then this is going to be pinning the queen. So I just think this was possibly something that Radjabov, you know, he kind of had, but maybe he missed. You know, and I guess he figured that a draw was fine. I'm not really sure what he was thinking. If I was thinking like him, you wouldn't see me doing YouTube. You'd see me playing games. But anyway, Merimi Salamat, King Magai Kaibagan, and I'll say, man, what is it? I'm trying to get it, man. It's Messiah Akong Makita Kong Muli. It's nice to see you guys again. And it was Cox Sagol. You know, salam. You know, to everybody that's watching from Azerbaijan. You know, sincerest apologies for your guy getting knocked out. But you know that Teimour Radjabov, he is a strong player. So you know, it's not too bad of a thing. But I appreciate you guys coming by. Hit that subscribe button, por favor. Get me my rest of my 95 that I need. And I will see you guys in the next video. I appreciate it.